A little bit ago, I put out an ad for a composer's assistant, and I ended up with over 100 applications. This was really eye-opening because for me, it gave me insight into not only the type of demand that there is for these positions, but also the various levels of knowledge and skills that applicants have. Since a lot of applicants were from music schools, it also gave me an idea as to where music schools leave off and how that relates to the expectations of where somebody's going to be picking up in the real world of scoring for film and TV. Since I have been in the position myself of sending out a pitch and not getting the gig, I personally had this urge to respond to everyone with feedback. But with so many applicants, there simply wasn't going to be enough time. So with that being said, I didn't want to leave people with nothing, so I put this video together to share what compelled me to interview certain people over others, and hopefully this will be helpful for anyone submitting for opportunities like this in the future. So let's dive into my tips for applying to be a composer's assistant. Number 1, cover letters. The first thing that I went over was the cover letter people sent in, and what I quickly noticed was that maybe 98% of the letters all started the exact same way. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I just graduated from Berkeley. I just graduated from Juilliard. I just graduated from USC. And the list goes on and on. There is absolutely nothing wrong with having just graduated from college. But my point is that this was the very first sentence of most people's cover letters. When someone is reviewing 70 to 100 applicants in a row, each applicant begins to blend into the next. I would suggest finding a different way to introduce yourself. The few individuals that opened their cover letters differently, it actually woke me up. It changed my psychological state. Every once in a while, I'd come across an applicant that would say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I have experience editing and cataloging cues for the last year and a half," or "I have experience writing and editing music inside of this sequencer for X amount of years. I'm an expert at this," or "I'm an expert at that." Using a value-based opening where you highlight a skill set is so much more valuable to the person who is reviewing the application. As a result, it can influence their actual state as they review the rest of your materials. The next thing that I would notice about cover letters is that sometimes people would write at length about their personal relationship to music and why that made the job I was offering something that they really wanted. At times, it kind of felt like they were giving me their whole life story, and then they tried connecting it to the opportunity. I've seen places that encourage this. They say that your cover letter is a chance to get to know you as a person. I don't disagree with that, but while I understand where this advice comes from, and I certainly love getting to know people, I feel it's also best to keep things brief and focused on the value you bring to the position. For me personally, my eyes started to gloss over, and in these cases, I just started looking for the highlights. What do you know how to do as an assistant in this position, and how proficient are you at this skill set? The people that said something like, "Hey, I read that you're looking for this, this, and this. I'm experienced at X, Y, and Z, and I can really help you out," that really resonated with me personally. It was so precise and to the point that I couldn't help but feel this person sounds like a serious candidate. Number 2 is the resume. After the cover letter, I went and checked out the resume, but to be honest, I spent the least amount of time here. The resume really just acted for me as a quality assurance check. Somebody that really nailed the cover letter by saying, "This is what I know how to do. This is what I'm really, really good at, and that is the experience that made me really good at it." Then I would use the resume to sort of check where that experience came from. So maybe they worked for a company, or maybe they worked for another composer, and so I'd go and check out the company, or if I wasn't familiar with the composer that they worked for, I would look them up to see what sort of quality level they were used to producing. It was really important to me that the resume, again, was simple and easy to navigate so that I could get the information quickly. Number 3 was music submissions. the last thing that I would do is I would listen to the music submissions that they included. And for me, this was by far the most interesting part of the process. Something I noticed was that maybe 98% of the applicants, the first music piece that was included was a very traditional, full-blown orchestral piece. Something that could easily translate to like an animated film or a fantasy film such as Lord of the Rings. That is a fantastic skill to have. But just like the cover letter, when going through so many applicants in a row, each applicant started to blend into the next, and they all started to sound the same. So when someone had a piece of music that stood out and showcased some more originality, it made a huge impression, and it really made me perk up and listen. Another note about the very organic orchestral submissions. In my experience personally, so much of the work that is happening today in film, TV, and video games is not just that traditional John Williams sound. When getting creative briefs about the music direction, the note from the producers and directors is, we want this to sound modern. We want it to sound more unique than this or than that. They're asking for music to be mixed up with different genres like cinematic orchestra, rock, EDM, experimental. So when listening to examples from potential applicants, it became really clear that many young musicians seem to still associate being a composer with the John Williams style score or a massive epic Hans Zimmer style score. But the truth is that in 2023, there is very, very diversified content, and it calls for composers to have and showcase a much more diversified skill set musically. So when someone was able to demonstrate an understanding of music in addition to the orchestra, it inspired me to think, oh, there could be value here that I wasn't even thinking of. For example, maybe they know how to make contact instruments, or maybe they know how to tweak patches from existing libraries. Maybe they just have a broader knowledge of libraries outside of the traditional orchestral patches. The bottom line is that your demos speak louder than anything else that you may have to truly illustrate the value you can bring to another composer. So I'd suggest making sure they don't sound like everyone else's as much as you can, and also that they illustrate a diverse set of skills. These are the main things that inspired me to interview certain people over others. I wish I could have gotten back to everyone individually, but as I mentioned, there just were too many applicants and too many time constraints. If you feel that this information has been valuable to you, or it can help other composers you know, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more content just like this that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Also, feel free to use the comment section below to ask any questions and let me know any other topics you'd like me to cover. Thank you for watching, and as always, I hope this was helpful.